The Roman Empire, the greatest civilization of the ancient world. From the marble columns of the Forum to the glittering palaces on the Palatine Hill, Rome was the center of power, wealth, and ambition. But behind every triumphal arch and golden statue stood another Rome. One built not by emperors, but by workers. The forgotten millions who labored, sweated, and died to keep the empire alive. The farmers who fed the cities, the slaves who built the temples, the soldiers who conquered lands far from home, all played their part in shaping an empire that stretched across 3 continents. Yet, for most of them, history recorded nothing. No names, no glory. In this film, we uncover 6 of the most dangerous, exhausting, and deadly jobs in ancient Rome. The ones that sustained its power and often destroyed the people who performed them. To the people of Rome, gladiators were gods of blood and sand, symbols of bravery, violence, and entertainment. But behind the cheers and gold, their lives were a nightmare. Most gladiators were slaves, criminals, or prisoners of war. They were owned, trained, and sold like animals. Their days began before sunrise in the ludus, the gladiator school. Grueling drills, endless combat training, and strict diets, designed not to keep them strong, but to keep them alive long enough to fight again. Injuries were constant: broken bones, infections, or deep cuts left untreated. In the arena, every match was a performance. Sometimes, the emperor himself decided who would live or die. A raised finger from the crowd could seal a man's fate. A few became celebrities, adored by the masses, like the legendary Spartacus, who defied Rome itself. But most gladiators died unknown, their bodies dragged away after the crowd's applause faded. The gladiators' life was short, brutal, and hopeless. Yet their courage became one of Rome's greatest myths. Beneath the wealth of Rome lay an invisible world, the mines. Deep in the mountains of Spain, Greece, and North Africa, thousands of slaves dug for the metals that fueled the empire: gold, silver, and iron. The life of a Roman miner was one of constant agony. They worked by flickering torchlight, crawling through tunnels barely wide enough to move. The air was thick with dust and smoke. Every breath burned the lungs. Cave-ins were common. A single crack in the rock could bury an entire crew alive. Few miners ever saw daylight again. Those who did often collapsed from exhaustion. Supervisors patrolled the tunnels with whips, forcing the pace. To Rome, these men were not workers. They were tools. Yet the gold and silver they mined paid for wars, temples, and the luxury of emperors. The empire's glory was literally carved from their suffering. Rome was not only built on conquest, it was built on engineering. Every aqueduct, bridge, and temple was a masterpiece of human effort and ingenuity. But construction was deadly work. Builders worked at dizzying heights with no safety ropes, lifting stones weighing several tons, using nothing but wooden cranes and rope. If one pulley snapped, dozens could die. The Roman engineer was both a scientist and a gambler, trusting physics, prayer, and muscle in equal measure. Their greatest achievement was the aqueduct, a river in the sky carrying water over miles of hills and valleys. Many of these structures still stand, a testament to human determination. Yet for every monument that survives, countless builders perished, crushed, burned, or forgotten. Their legacy lives in the stones beneath our feet. The Roman legionary, the backbone of the empire. Every soldier swore 25 years of service to Rome. They marched across deserts, forests, and frozen mountains, conquering in the name of the eagle. The training was relentless. Armor weighed over 30 kilograms, and the marches could last for days. Soldiers built their own camps, roads, and fortresses before even resting. Disease and exhaustion claimed more lives than battle. Yet, the legionary's life was defined by duty. Loyalty was absolute. Failure was punished by death. At war, the legions moved like machines, precise, brutal, unstoppable. But when the battle ended, they were just men again, hungry, homesick, and afraid. Their discipline built Rome's borders. Their blood defended them. Beneath the splendor of Rome's palaces lived a silent world. Servants, slaves, and laborers who kept the empire running. They cleaned the marble halls, tended the fires, raised children who weren't theirs, and served meals they would never taste. Some were educated, tutors, scribes, musicians. Others were treated worse than beasts. Their lives depended entirely on the will of their masters. Punishment was swift and cruel, but many learned to survive, finding small freedoms in loyalty, skill, or intelligence. They were invisible, yet indispensable. Every senator's speech, every emperor's feast, every triumphal parade depended on their unseen labor. When history remembers Rome's emperors, it forgets the hands that built their glory. Yet those hands, worn, scarred, and silent, shaped the world more than any crown ever did. Fire, the heart of Roman industry. In the workshops of Rome, blacksmiths and glassblowers worked day and night, surrounded by heat and danger. The blacksmith's forge was a place of constant noise and risk. Sparks burned the skin, molten iron splattered like rain, and one misstep could mean death. Yet these artisans created everything: swords, tools, hinges, armor, and coins. The glassblowers faced their own inferno. They inhaled toxic fumes from molten sand, shaping fragile beauty from destruction. Fire was their enemy and their ally, a god they had to control every single day. Despite the danger, their work gave Rome its shine: polished helmets, bronze statues, and glass vessels that still survive 2,000 years later. Their hands turned chaos into civilization. Rome was built by emperors, yes, but it endured because of ordinary people. Men and women who lived in pain, who toiled, who believed in something greater than themselves. Their names are lost, but their work still stands in stone, glass, and legend. So next time you walk past a Roman ruin, remember, it was not built by gods. It was built by hands, by courage, by sacrifice.